Hello there, my name's Sean, also known as the Determinator. Today I have a post-game commentary on a game in the Tufted-toucanet Team Tussle. I love it. The team tournament. This is the quarterfinal stage that we're in here against Feast of Crows this game. I was going first, as you can see. This is the first game that I played in the quarterfinal, and as you can see, I had a rather good starting hand. And I had so many options here. Obviously, you got the chipping sparrow and the raven sort of go against each other in terms of what they do. Obviously, the chipping sparrow is good forest engine bird, and the raven is obviously a grassland engine bird. So, it was a bit tricky to. They sort of do opposite powers, don't they? A chipping sparrow, you get food, but then it gives you eggs. But the raven, you're getting eggs and then getting food from the raven. So, but I thought I could incorporate it in some way. Obviously, the raven you can't play until the end of round one, so I need something to do in that first round, and that's why I decided to pick the chipping sparrow here to maybe use that to help get the food for these other birds. So obviously, I really wanted to keep this storm petrel because it's absolutely brilliant wetland bird. But I don't think there was a fish in the tray, and obviously picking 4 birds and only keeping 1 food, that's going to be pretty slow, and not having that fish there as well. If the food for the petrel was there, I think it might have been worth keeping, but obviously bonus card's a very good bonus card, Omnivore obviously, the raven working with that straight away, so you always love to see that. But it took me a while here to decide whether I could afford to keep this petrel or not, because obviously if I didn't have the petrel, I didn't have a wetland bird at all. So I could have played the housefinch as a wetland bird, but obviously you don't really want it there. You want that in the grasslands, really. So I desperately wanted to keep this petrel. Not really any wetland birds in the tray either. Turtle could be used as a push, but I was desperately trying to think of a way that I could incorporate this petrel, but I think it was too expensive, so I think I decided that I had to ditch it, which is a shame. And you can see also in the tray we've got the yellowhammer, which as you may have seen from one of my previous videos, I've had some fantastic games with these player bird teal pals, so I was definitely keeping an eye on that as potentially to use it. But obviously a really important thing for me to do here was to look for a good wetland bird. That was a priority, because raven or not, you can't do well without some card draw. So. So my opponent took, I think, almost 4 minutes to decide on their starting hand, and you'll see why in a second. But here, I decided I did want another yellowhammer game. So the yellowhammer doesn't work amazingly with raven, but I do like to. I do like to push the boundaries when it comes to the yellowhammer, and I don't think it was worth trying. And you can see my opponent kept 1 bird, and it was a migratory bird, the Lincoln Sparrow, so they obviously had an absolutely awful starting hand, basically the opposite of mine. So plan here, get the food for the yellowhammer first of all. I was thinking I had enough time here to try to get the food for these other birds, and get the food for the raven as well, to be ready to get it down. That's what I was hoping anyway. And because I did need to get quite a lot of food, I decided to play the yellowhammer in the forest. So yeah, taking food will be the principal action for this round, that's for sure. Still on the lookout for a wetland bird. So yeah, in goes the yellow hammer. So yeah, my opponent took one draw and got the wood duck, so the luck was evening out a little bit. So yeah, now had the food to play this house finch, so... But then I thought, well, I don't have another bird to play, it's my spare turn with the yellow hammer, so I decided that actually I better make the finch my spare go. So I was just thinking now if there was anything in the tray I could take and have as my spare turn, but decided not. So I just to play this house finch with the yellow hammer. Yeah, so I was hoping my opponent, obviously they have the wood duck, so they're going to be taking food a lot, so I was hoping they will change this feeder to so that I can get hold of a rodent here. And luckily for me, they do just that. And I get my raven food. But yeah, spare player goes in, the house finch. And we're set up nicely for the next round. And I was very surprised to see that my opponent didn't play a third bird, so won then around from it. It was a bit of a shock. Yeah, start of round 2, nothing incredible in the tray, although definitely a couple of things I'm thinking about. Obviously, I was desperately looking for a wetland bird now, so this loon is something that, it's not amazing. Obviously, the power, someone with a wood duck, they're not going to be putting in many birds in their wetlands, so I'm probably not going to be able to use the power, but obviously I was almost pretty desperate at this point to get a wetland bird, and obviously did meet my bonus card as well, so I thought, yeah, I definitely thought it was worth grabbing just to start off that wetlands. Snow egret came up here, but oh yeah, raven in first. Of course, I did put the raven in first. Was not in a desperate hurry to grab the wetland birds there. I was pretty confident that they would stay there. So yeah, grab the loon here. Egret, you could argue, slightly better in terms of the power, but I think, 8-point bird for 2 food, you can't really go wrong with that. It's not likely to be hitting 4 more times than the egret, so... So yeah, obviously getting the food for the loon here, obviously I had to skip the finch. I could have played a clever there and picked up the egret instead of the loon, and then cycled the finch to get the loon. But yeah, could have done that. There's a chance my opponent would have taken it, but so it was a bit risky. So yeah, things are looking good here. Finally got all 3 of my starting hand birds in, and nicely set up here. Looking bad for the end of the round as well, and the bonus cards ticking along nicely with 4 points already. So yeah, can't complain. So yeah, time to draw. Obviously, I can't use the loon Oh, my opponent played the turtle dove in the wetlands, which surprised me, so actually I could use the loon power now, which is nice. American Kestrel, sometimes I don't mind using it as a grassland bird, even though its power's not amazing. It's okay. But I did pick up the woodpecker because obviously when you got the raven, your game's going to be to play high scoring birds and bonus card birds, so it's definitely good to pick up and use Yellowhammer as well. To use play birds like that. Yeah, so my opponent picked up the black woodpecker to add to their forest, so it's a pretty scary forest now. So yeah, eggs was their main issue. So yeah, I did get the food for this kestrel in the absence of anything better for the grassland, and I've had some great plays with the condor recently in my games, but this wasn't the game for it. Did consider picking up the goshawk, but decided that it didn't have like a huge amount of value here in this game. Obviously my card draw was pretty poor, so getting cards for it wasn't going to be straightforward. So I picked up got the falcon, which could definitely be used here as a second wetland bird. I have the food for it as well, so definitely worth considering. Yeah, so I think I won the end of round, so I wasn't too. Obviously, I had to take food. I had to take food for the Yellowhammer power, of course. So yeah, that's what I was doing there. And played a kestrel and win the end of round, which is nice. So start of round 3, and yes, I definitely needed another bird in the wetlands. Obviously, I had this falcon in my hand, but I would definitely like the look of that yellow-headed blackbird. It's on the late side to play a bird like that, but I think it's a 4-point bird, so it's not like if it was lower scoring, I might not have considered it. But let's see, it's got a good, decent power to get rid of useless cards, so I think it was still worth picking up here instead of the falcon. And then I was considering the meadowlark because my opponent didn't have many ground nest spaces. I think they had the Lincoln sparrow and that was it. So I did consider picking it up, but aside of the blackbird, was more valuable to me here. So yeah, in case of the blackbird. Obviously wasn't hugely furnished with platform nest spaces here for the end of round, but I was okay with the raven just to qualify. So yeah, time to take cards. So yeah, my opponent stocking up on birds that cache food, that tuck cards for discarding food, which is exactly what you want when you've got a wood duck. So that's very nice for them. And yeah, I was just thinking still this meadowlark might still actually be useful because they still didn't have that many ground nests. And I did still want to push this grassland out as well. So they just had the Lincoln Sparrow 2 spaces that are currently filled, so if I could get that in quickly then it could definitely be useful for me here. Certainly not in the absence of no other grass and stuff. So yeah, just thinking about how I was going to plan this in terms of the Yellowhammer. So I need to take food at some point. The food I need is not in the feeder, but see, that doesn't matter a huge amount when you've got the raven, but it was okay to do that then. Obviously my opponent would have seen me taking the meadowlark, so that would have caused them to clear out their ground nest space, and they have actually played the golden eagle, very nice. So I do the same, clear out my nest space, and obviously I can now egg lay and get the food for this woodpecker and have that as the yellow hammer play. Yeah, this omnivore bonus card has not been massively used since early in the game, but that's okay. Hopefully this woodpecker will give us something else to go after here. Yeah, so obviously my opponent now playing lots of high scoring birds, as exactly what you need when you've got a wood duck with a duck. Grass and then forest engine. And we'll take Prairie Manager from that. I did thinking about taking a risk and taking one I've got, obviously 1 extra point. I wouldn't be able to max out Prairie. So yeah, maybe is it worth keeping this? The one I've got a bit of the chance of 1 extra point, but I decided that I think I was doing pretty well in the game, so it wasn't worth taking the risk and just take the safe 3 points. And yeah, and we ended up drawing the end of the round because my opponent only had Turtle Dove and the Golden Eagle. So, final round. So our opponent had a very nice Baltimore Oriole to go for in the tray there. And yeah, so I was looking, obviously I needed to find 2 birds here. I needed to find a bird to play in the round and then a bird to play with the yellow hammer. And yeah, certainly once that Oriole disappears, there's not going to be anything obvious. So unless you find a bird that you have the exact food for, Swainson's hawk. Shame I didn't have any other Prairie Manager birds in my grass and so, because that would have maxed it out. But yeah, that's the sort of thing I was after. But I also obviously need to find something ideally for this wetlands, so for the end of round, filled columns. So that was going to be my plan here, to try and look for something. Draw the Harrier, which is like a good backup, I suppose. Well, not good, not massively good, but a backup that I could play as a spare turn. Only 2 points, but at least it does meet the end of round. So that's my backup plan if I couldn't find anything better. But yeah, obviously play the hawk before egg laying here. Maybe get a hunt or 2. Yes, my opponent's still getting those high scoring birds down. So yeah, egg laying here, hoping to get something with this house finch. I just picked some random food, and that's not what you want, is it? So, 2 turns left. Obviously I needed to go for food for one of them, but obviously, so yeah, I had this one last chance here to run the grasslands and hope that the finch, the house finch, gives me something better than this Harrier that I could get the food for. So it was worth discarding a food. I did have a think about it, but yeah, I thought it was worth doing, because I obviously had to get food anyway. To get more food with trading, so I had plenty of food. So there was a good chance I'd have the right food for something. But even so, risky. I had obviously one rat left running this grassland. I just took some random food that a wetland bird might want to feed on, and drew the perfect bird. In fact, I had that in my mind as I was using the raven. I was thinking, the background at night will be perfect, and then it shows up. It was ridiculous. It was uncanny. So yeah, so obvious what the spare turn was going to do. Obviously I had to take food here to run the animal, which is still worth doing because obviously I get a point with the sparrow, and food tiebreaker could come into play, of course, so it was still worth doing rather than just playing the heron straight away here. So yeah, random food, and may as well discard a card for extra food just in case. Food tiebreaker is important, but never know. No point in having spare cards, is point in having spare food. So yeah, my lucky heron, my lucky mascot goes in to draw the end of round. Not amazing on bonus cards in the end, but okay. And yeah, we're going to the scores. I think my opponent struggled to find decent stuff with the wood duck at the start. I think they found some good, like, high scoring birds in the end, but obviously they had that awful start with the Lincoln Sparrow. Definitely, yeah. But at the moment I was a bit worried. I was a bit behind. But eggs came back. I managed to come back into it, and obviously had some quite a lot of tucks with the finch, etc., and got the win. Definitely a lot of luck involved in that, but that's always what the case is with this game, isn't it? But sometimes you've got to make your own luck. So thank you very much for watching. I'll see you next time.